Hi everybody, how are you doing? Firstly, can I just say I'm absolutely delighted to be here. It's a real pleasure to be in a room full of such positive, kind of proactive people who are all here to do good and help people get on the road to a healthier, happier life. First of all, I am a teacher and I'm very passionate about the role of a whole food plant-based diet to lead people to a happier and healthier life. 60% of Irish people are now overweight or obese. That is a tenfold increase over the last 4 decades. And 45.9% of our calories are now coming from ultra-processed foods. And for me, as a teacher, I really want to be part of the solution. And as a teacher, I really believe we have an incredible opportunity to get children at their youngest years to develop habits, lifestyle habits that can lead them to a happier, healthier life in a curious way, in a fun way, in an interactive way, and also in a non-reactive way. So, as a teacher here, I will be covering some of the initiatives that I've ran in the schools. I've ran a number of initiatives on healthy lifestyle eating and whole food plant-based eating, and just how well that's been working with families and the community in general. I know as a teacher, it can be a very daunting task to recommend diet and lifestyle. And I know, I just began to think this week, as GPs and as doctors, with such a short, maybe 10 minutes with your patients, that can be even more challenging when you have such a short amount of time with your patients. So I'm hoping to share some of the initiatives that I have run in the schools and the school communities, positive feedback and some of the challenges faced, and most importantly, some practical ideas that I think are transferable to you, healthcare professionals, that might help you to help your patients. And I hope that can help. So in front of you, one of the things I'm often asked from parents is, where do we start? Where do we get these foods? What books would you recommend? What websites would you recommend? So just this week I pulled together, there was an opportunity to pull together a sheet front and back with some of the ingredients for health and happiness, which are in the sheet in front of you. Some resources that I found very useful in my journey, heading from a farmer's son who loved meat, dairy, eggs. It was just part of my diet until I began to ask questions about it and ask questions about health and well-being. And I also included recipes, a breakfast recipe, lunch recipe, pre-dinner recipes, and some pancakes, smoothie recipes, all simple stuff, simple ingredients. And one thing I found very important, if you look at the bottom, I have a little asterisk beside where you find these ingredients, because I find that as a challenge for parents in particular, children. Some of my friends go, where do you find some of the more awkward ingredients? And there's a little asterisk beside them in the recipe list if you can find them at the best value in Tesco, Super Value or Dunn's, Aldi or Lidl, or in a health store. And of course you can get chia seeds in Tesco, but you can get them for a quarter of the price in Aldi. So I have noted that down on the sheet. So I would like to bring you through, just as an introduction, these are ingredients for my classroom that are front and centre up the front of my classroom, and they underpin and they're the foundation for all the teaching I do around health, well-being and diet. I'm very passionate about allowing the children to experience the benefits for themselves. That has a huge ripple effect. They tell their friends, they tell their family, and they bring them habits home and practice them at home. So I'm going to bring you through just the 5 ingredients, and they're there. I hope they might be. My hope for this sheet is that possibly in a short 10-minute visit, you might use this or something similar for your patients, and you're able to hand them and say, here's something to get you started. There's a few recipes, a few resources, people to follow on social media, amazing books that'll deal with the why and the how. For me, that was probably the strongest thing that I can offer to get people started, is give them the tools to get started. So as you can see on the sheet, these are up in the centre of our classroom. Eat more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes. Most of the children and the parents have never even heard of the word legumes. And no one that I teach ever imagines that we can get everything we need to try, be happy, be healthy from these foods. So that is one of the most important things that we're teaching them at that age. We also talk about the importance of sleep. I firmly believe that a whole food plant-based diet is, I would say, the most important part in the health and well-being puzzle, but there's also massively important other pieces to that puzzle. And for me, sleep is a huge one. And for day-to-day well-being, happiness and emotional well-being, but also to avoid chronic disease later in life. And the science is absolutely there on that. We encourage them to obviously move their body lots every day, whatever they enjoy doing. Just get out, move your body, whatever you love to do, move lots. Big thing we try to teach the children is be kind to themselves and to others. To notice when they're stressed and to manage it in a way that works for them. That could be having a bath, that could be going for a walk, that could be meditating, that could be saying a prayer, that could be having a cup of tea or with a friend or going for exercise. But the children really, I think, appreciate that we're actively teaching them skills to be happier and healthier. And the last one is just in around, we've had it a lot today about community. So I wanted to pull together all these elements about community, health eating, moving. And for years I've been teaching, the children will come in and early to school, maybe once a month, and we cook breakfast together. Or we would, Pancake Tuesday, we'd make healthy pancakes together. But I wanted to bring it together as a full program. And that's why I designed a program that I call Eat Like a Champion Week. I'm teaching all boys, so again, trying to give it a name that appeals to boys that are mad into sport. So I designed a program called Eat Like a Champion Week, and I'll let the children tell you all about the program, and I'll talk a little bit about it afterwards.
First, with the help of their passionate teacher, a group of 6 class boys are learning about making healthy lifestyle choices. This morning, Julian found out more.
These boys are scouring the shelves for healthy ingredients. Their teacher has told them all about which ingredients to look for and what to avoid in certain highly processed foods. After getting stocked up, it was time to take the short trip from Super Value in Northside Shopping Centre back to St David's Boys National School in Artane. That's because these boys will be preparing their breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks together for a week. It's a big task, and the boys have volunteered to come into school an hour early and leave 2 hours after school. They cook, eat and tidy up together, focusing on the benefits of working as a community. Their teacher, who has designed the meals in consultation with the doctor, says it's about taking control of their own health, happiness and well-being. They're calling it Eat Like a Champion Week.
So I want to be healthy and happy, and it's really good learning how to read labels and know which is good for you and which is bad for you.
Between eating healthy, I've had a good night's sleep all the time since I've been eating healthy. I found that if I burn off energy, but once I burn off that energy, I have way more energy after.
They want to show that learning about nutrition is a great way to tackle obesity and make better lifestyle choices. They learn about the science behind choosing a varied diet, all while experiencing foods that they may never have tried before.
And it's not just about eating healthily, you also have to remember to keep fit too.
Their 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise follows 10 minutes of mindfulness. All week they're making sure to get enough sleep and monitoring the impact all these activities are having on their mood, concentration and energy levels.
After a week of that experience, I'm hoping that they will feel great. They'll realise how great they can feel when they're eating healthy foods, when they're exercising regularly, when they're getting their 10 hours sleep a night. And I'm hoping that they will feel really energised and they'll feel great, and that they'll bring that forward as a habit.
The boys at St David's are already seeing benefits, and they hope they can be an inspiration to other children around the country.
So for me it was very important to allow the children to experience how good they felt. They monitored their sleep for the week, they monitored how their energy levels were, they monitored their mood, And after they felt so good throughout the week, they wanted to keep that going forward as a habit. Something I've learned that might be transferable to GPs and healthcare professionals would be a lot of work went into that. A lot of that work came back on me, the teacher. And that was last year. This year, I'll talk about some of the ideas we've done this year. But I think a big part of it then is transitioning that to putting the ownership back on the families, putting the ownership back on the children themselves. As a teacher, I'm trying this year to facilitate more. So we're reaching more children, and it was throughout the school. And also the power of role modelling, and I'll talk about that in a moment. As a teacher, I know I have a huge influence. They look up to me as to what's in my lunchbox, what I eat, and I know doctors, it'll be even way more powerful that you're role models for your patients. If you don't realise that, I know, I would say you're massive role models for them. So one thing I just wanted to just come back down for a moment, and I wanted everyone just to have a think. A lot of people travelled, I know some people travelled from the UK, a lot of people travel from all over the country to be here on their Saturday today. And I just wanted to have a think for one moment as to why you're here today. I know why I'm here today, and I just wanted to have a little think as to why you're here today. And if you can narrow that down to one sentence. Everyone has a different reason for why they want to make changes in their life. And I just want to tell you a little bit about mine for a moment, if you would. This is me on my graduation day. That's my mum and my dad, and unfortunately, that was 2006 at the age of 20. Unfortunately, a few months afterwards, my mum got diagnosed with breast cancer, and this was the beginning of us asking why. This was the reason we began to ask why. She passed away 10 years ago this year, and at that point, for me personally, that's when I began to ask, was there more we could have done? Why did she get sick? It was breast cancer that had traveled to the bone before we got diagnosed. So on a more positive note, it's my sister Orla that's just up here as well. We got the opportunity to, through fundraising, to buy Donegal's first dragon boat. All these incredible women here are breast cancer survivors, and they train together twice a week, a huge, healthy, positive community that. And we're very proud that my mum's name is on the front of the boat, something very positive. And another massive why, this is my father, one of the fittest, strongest men I know. And I think a lot of people will probably be able to relate to people they know and maybe patients that they know. Dad is one of the fittest, strongest men I know. He never smoked, never drank. He walks 10 miles a day, cross country, chasing sheep. He goes to bed when the sun goes down, he's up before it comes up. He's such healthy habits. And in 2013, Dad got a very aggressive form of prostate cancer. And after what happened with Mum, we were very proactive and we got it very early. Surgery went well as can be expected, but with side effects. A few years later, we realised that Dad had severe blockages leading into his heart. He had a 95% blockage in one of the main arteries leading to his heart. And he's since had 7 stents. And even more so, I'm asking again, why? And it all led back to diet. A diet, especially since Mum passed away, a diet of ginger nuts, ham and cheese sandwiches on white bread, Madeira cake, and so on like that. As a farmer, he comes in and he grabs, and it's his diet, I believe, after diving so much into the science, why. So it was very empowering to see it all be brought together over in London last year by Dr. Neil Barnard. Very empowering, scary, but very empowering to know that 90% of type 2 diabetes, 80 to 90% of heart disease, and 40 to 70% of all cancers are entirely preventable. And it's already been said today, the global burden of disease now has diet ahead of alcohol, smoking, as the #1 risk factor for chronic disease. So that is absolutely my why. I want to appreciate the people we're still lucky enough to have around us, family, friends, and also the people under our care. And in my case, it's the children and the families, and I want to be part of the solution. So I think it's very important. Something I'm a very firm believer in is if we have a strong enough why, we can overcome almost any how. So my why might be very different to your why. A child's why, for example, in a class full of boys, I'm talking to them about Cristiano Ronaldo, and what he eats after training, exercise, recovery, so on like that. When I'm talking to my niece, she doesn't want to know about heart disease or type 2 diabetes. She's 6 years of age. She wants to know that her eyes are looking bluer, her hair is looking shinier because of the broccoli she's eating, the blueberries she's having for breakfast. My dad, it's the same trick I use with Dad. I'd say, Dad, at 70 years of age, do you want to be able to walk around 10 miles a day after the sheep, or do you not want to be able to do that anymore? Because that is what he loves to do, his farm. So the challenge for me is to figure out what the children that I teach and their parents, what is their why. And I suppose, to impart back to you, I suppose if you have a shorter time with your patients, so it's an even greater challenge. But if we can begin to find out what our patients' why is, then I think we can get to meet them and help them along the way. I'm going to keep it very positive. I just have a few other different initiatives I've run in the school. I'm going to keep it very positive, but there is a reality in the schools. And I've had to look at this in homework diaries and in every other classroom in the school. I've been a teacher for 10 years. This is a resource for most teachers. Parents are led by this resource, and it's in every homework journal, children's journal. That's the exact same one that's in their journal. A few things, I think I'm preaching to the converted here, I know, but as a teacher I should be encouraging children to have 3 to 5 portions of milk, yogurt and cheese a day. With the saturated fat and the cholesterol, that's insane, and I can't believe we're still promoting that. Confusion. It says bread, cereals, rice, pasta. Nowhere there does it say whole grain or brown. A simple one word would relieve some of the confusion around that. And I don't believe there's any part for oils and junk food, especially taking up a quarter of our whole food pyramid. And I don't understand as well why there's such a disparity with the Canadian guidelines, who clearly show half the plate, the daily plate, should be colourful fruit and vegetables. A quarter of your plate should be brown whole grains, and a quarter, they have done away with milk and dairy and incorporated into a protein, into a group of quarter of our plate which is protein. You're all very aware of that, I'm sure. They also actively promote plant-based sources of protein. So I think there's a massive reality there, and I just want to go through some of the other realities. In my experience, parents are confused, teachers are confused, children are confused. They all want to do the best they can, but we're feeding them the wrong information. And they have learned this information, and I suppose my job as a teacher, as I see it, is to help them unlearn that information. I've shared some of these just on the government-funded school lunches. Again, it's coming from the top level. Our school is a medium-sized school, and we get a €40,000 grant to provide snacks for the children. It's taxpayers' money. Some of the snacks that I'm supposed to be handing out to children is laughing cow cheese, white bread sandwiches with ham and processed meats inside them, lots of refined grains in the snacks, and little oat bars and muffins, and oat bars that are 52% oils and sugars, which it's crazy that we're giving these to children. We're creating a problem from the top level. I feel we're underestimating children and families. I feel we should be giving them the truth. I feel parents want to do the right thing if we can only empower them. And I think education is a huge part of that. And I think everyone in this room has a great part. It's amazing to be here today. So many people that are looking to empower their patients and people around the country to have a healthier life. Just some of the, I'm just going to brighten it up with some of the positivity around what I've been doing in the schools, and hopefully it's transferable to healthcare professionals. So one of the things I try to do is to overcome hurdles or barriers in the way of them understanding what the road to health and happiness looks like. And sometimes they don't know where to find these foods. They don't know where to find them in the supermarket. So whenever we're cooking in the classroom, be it for breakfast or be it for eating like a champion week, children come down with me and we shop together. We make a bit of fun out of it. We have shopping lists and we shop together. It's a great experience. We cook together as a team. They're part of it. I'm not cooking for them. I'm not their dad or not their mum. We all play a big part in it, and they chop the veg, they wash the veg. We all play a big part in it. some of the meals that we provide, and they really, when they play a part and they have ownership of it, they really enjoy it. Big thing I think as well is community. We've never been more connected, yet I feel we've never been more disconnected. And a huge part of the program for me was to sit down together, no televisions, no radios, no phones, sitting down, just chatting at the table. And I feel over the course of Eat Like a Champion week, when we got the opportunity to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, we really bonded together just having chats. And part of the things we talked about every day was, how was your night's sleep last night? And how did you feel? How many hours did you get? That was part of the conversation each day at the table. We built it in. Just some of the social aspect of sitting down eating together and talking about new foods that they were eating. They loved that. This wasn't as popular, the tidy up. It was, I think it was an important part of it, and we always celebrate with a cup of tea and 2 squares of dark chocolate afterwards. So they got their reward afterwards. I wanted to teach them as well that they don't need to be paying big money in a gym. That we teach in our 10 here in Dublin, that once they step outside, that's their gym. The parks, the roads, as long as they're sharing it, that's their gym. And we get them moving a lot. This is something I think that is very transferable to maybe healthcare professionals. Every day I bring my lunchbox up to the classroom and I make sure it looks good. This is my pink lunchbox here. But I just wanted to show them what I was eating every day. And all of a sudden it organically, and that's a big part of what I was hoping to share with you guys today. It happened organically where the children started to share their lunchbox and go, oh look, they know what I like to see, back from ingredient number 1. They know what I like to see in the lunchbox, so they're like, oh look sir, I'm after bringing in such and such, and well I've got some brown rice today and so on. So it organically became a thing where I started sharing lunchbox of the week. And big thing here was progress. Dr. Johnny Allman, this day last year, I was sitting down there and he said, meet people where they're at. And when I went home after last year, I began to reflect, maybe at times I was looking for perfection. I was being too critical. A child would proudly come up to me and say, look sir, I've changed from white bread to brown bread. And all I would see would be the ham and the cheese in the middle. And I would say, just a pity with the ham and cheese. And they'd turn around and they go back, deflated. So this year, what I've learned is positivity, praise. I don't even see the ham and cheese. Absolute legend, high five, look at that, give you a picture of that. Any chance you could squeeze in a bit of lettuce or spinach nut tomorrow. All of a sudden they're back the next day. And it's progress each day. So every step towards progress, that was a huge thing, I think. Boys are bringing in vegetables and they just want that praise. We all love a bit of praise. They just want that praise that teachers recognise them. And they love it. They love how they feel on it as well. So just to reiterate that point, celebrate every mini victory. If it's white bread to brown bread, if it's just getting one extra piece of veg into the lunchbox, an extra fruit, victories. Another thing we've done, maybe to be ideas as to how you could incorporate. I have some ideas at the end and hopefully they're helpful, that transfer to the healthcare professionals. Again, putting the ownership back on the children, putting the ownership back on the patient. They come in with, they love a challenge as well. So they come in with a piece of fruit and veg that someone in the class might have tried before. We've got some very unusual Asian fruits that come in. They go to great lengths to find fruits that people may not try. I don't even know the names of some of these. That's like a pear, but it's not a pear. So, again, they do the hard work. Unlike Eat Like a Champion week was brilliant, but it took a lot of pressure on me. Put the work back on them. Facilitate them, but we can't hold them by the hand all the time. Just like you've 10 minutes to your patient, you can't hold them by the hand and walk them the whole way. Give them the information, and that's what I hoped that maybe this would be, that if you're handing over, facilitating them to make improvements, it's over to them then. And the children are really taking that on. In some of the other classrooms, we do this once a month, Taste This Tuesday. And another big thing, I don't know about you guys, but when I used to return home from primary school, I used to get home at 3 o'clock. Mum used to get home till about 4 o'clock. And I would have half a packet, 3/4 of a packet of digestives polished by the time she came home. So a big thing was to eat like a champion, move like a champion, sleep like a champion, snack like a champion. And we gather up fresh fruit, and we encourage them to have a snack on the way out the door. And for the other classes in the school, we set this up once a week where we gather up fruit and veg that has been left over in the school, and we hand it out free as they're out the door once a week. And we also set a good example to the parents. We hand out fruit to the parents as well at the gate. Again, this is something I feel is very transferable to you guys. Again, putting ownership back on the patients. This happened organically. This happened organically, but they love a challenge. And the patients, the parents, John threw you the 5-minute mark. I challenged them to either a plant-based Monday if they felt able for it, or a progress Monday where they'd add in extra veggies into their meat dinner. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. So some do plant-based Monday, some do progress Monday, some do meat-free Monday. Here's some of the pictures. And again, this was the first one I got in. One of the parents just shared this. Kevin and his dad shared this. I stuck that up on my what's called Class Dojo. It's like a social media page for the schools. All of a sudden, the ripple effect, everyone was sending in pictures. So I shared them quite regularly. Here's them adding in vegetables, cooking, and a selfie at home. And here's some of the other pictures of children eating with their families. We had the happy pair in. I think, again, it was very important to have someone else reiterate the positive message around health and well-being. And I think you'll find this quite interesting. 2 years ago, so Eat Like a Champion was last year, this was another project I'd done 2 years ago. And especially when I heard this stat of how much food we're getting from ultra-processed foods, I wanted to challenge the children during Lent to give up added sugar, to give it a go. But I didn't want to suggest it, I wanted them to make their mind up. So I designed a project around reading labels about the effects of over-consuming sugar for obesity and chronic disease rates. And I let them decide. And I'll let the children show you what they learned from that project. This is Ross. Ross, for a boy Ross's age, over the course of a whole year, he should be having no more than 4 to 6 bags of sugar. The Irish average is closer to what Finn has here. It's 35 bags of sugar, which makes us the 4th highest consumer of sugar in the world. And what I will say is our research in the school found that nobody, I think that's conservative, because nobody in the school, only my class and the teachers, were under that. Everyone else was way over that. And I'll let the children explain in their own words what we've done about processed foods, if it works.
Now, it's recommended that children shouldn't have more than 4 teaspoons of sugar a day. The problem is that we often consume far more than we should, as Tommy has been finding out.
It's everywhere. We need sugar to live, but too much of it can be damaging to our health. The problem is people love it and sometimes eat and drink far too much.
Sugar, it tastes good, that's for one. It comes almost everywhere, in almost every product.
Students at St. David's Boys National School in Artane decided to investigate just how much sugar their fellow classmates consume. The results were pretty shocking.
We went around to the classes and we were asking people, so let's just say we had a yogurt on the sheet, we'd ask them would they have a yogurt, and if they said yes, we put down how much spoons of sugar it was in the yogurt. The results, so you're meant to have 4 spoons of sugar a day for a child. The average for most classes was 20 or more.
An Irish person has never really experienced what healthy is because we are way over the recommended.
Yeah, it was hard, but thanks to our teacher, we never gave up. And we finally got to that point where we could cut it out. We're better at sport, we're fitter, loads of stuff, more concentration.
Of course, these young investigators weren't going to let me leave without an interrogation.
So what is your prediction for your spoons of sugar per day?
8.
Let's say about that. Would you have jam or Nutella? Would you have tomato ketchup? So your spoons per year is 9,125. You're a disgrace. Not much worse, we have.
Looks like I have a lot of work to do. Cutting down our family can become sugar savvy together.
Thanks very much. So, what really worked there, Ken Williams, he's a cardiologist, I heard him say that it's more powerful if the patient makes the decision themselves. And in this case, the children were like, I like my body, I'm not going to do that to it, I don't want to harm my body. So again, I think we're underestimating children. If we give them a strong enough why, they can do it. Just very quickly, very convenient option for dinner in the evening for many families. A jar of sweet and sour, 20 spoons of sugar, the boys found out. A lot of the boys coming from training are told by their coaches to have some protein milk, high in protein. They're 5 times the safe amount of sugar by the time they've come home from training. This one broke my heart, to be honest. 30 spoons of sugar in that tub of Ben & Jerry's. I know you're only meant to have a scoop, but I often used to have half the tub. And this is where, quite shocking as well, a low-fat yogurt. We think we're doing well. We think we're ticking one of the boxes on the food pyramid, 4.5 spoons. So, yeah, so I just finish up with it. Oh yeah, that's it. Just one other thing I'll mention, a project I'm very proud to be doing. I run summer camps in the summer, which are, every activity in the summer camps is built around the 5 ingredients that I've put on the page. And I'm very proud to say that all our meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, are all plant predominant, 85% plus. And every Wednesday we have a whole food plant-based Wednesday. Hundreds of children come to the summer camps over the 6 weeks in the summer. And it's been great to see how the difference from year 1 to year 2, how they now love the food as well, once we persevered. There was a bit of resistance at the start, but we persevered with it and they love it now. So we're trying to spread an Eat Like a Champion idea throughout the school, 3rd class to 6th class. I'm hoping Johnny Allman, he doesn't know it yet, but I'm hoping he'll join me for a parents' evening to discuss the why and the how. I kind of broached it before, but I'm hoping he can join me for that. I think it's very powerful to have a doctor there to reinforce the message. It's great coming from the teacher, but I think the doctors carry just so much more weight with carrying the message like that. And so please consider even visiting the school. Just the impact that could have would be incredible if you had the time. One thing I'm working on as well, so many parents ask me for recipes. They're curious, they want to know, they just don't know where to start. So I'm developing a free ebook with a number of different breakfast, lunch, dinners, something similar to this, just with a few more ideas in it. I want to share some ideas that might be practical, I hope will be useful for you guys, is 5 ingredients for health and well-being, or something similar up in your practice. I'm happy to, I've left my Instagram at the bottom of the page. I only set it up last night, so you've got priority board on my Instagram. I think I'm about 5 followers at the minute, so. But I'm going to be sharing some useful resources, different things like the 5 ingredients, recipes, things that you can share with your patients, hopefully, things that you can share with families, family meal ideas, and so on like that. And I'll keep you updated with different programs run in the school. So I'm happy to share any resources. Just drop me a message and I'll email them on. You can edit them whatever way you want. You can edit this sheet whatever you want, put your name on it. As long as the information is getting out there, I'm absolutely delighted. Just some ideas. I talked through with a few doctors, like, would this be possible? I done one of the Happy Pair courses, the Happy Gut course. I done that maybe 2 years ago, and we had access to a private Facebook group, which I thought would have been a great idea. Again, you're putting the work back on the patients. If you set up the group, add in any patients that you feel would be interested or curious about a plant-based challenge, and every Monday they post a picture into the group. And again, it's not, the workload doesn't come back on the teacher, the workload doesn't come back on the doctor, it's them putting in pictures of their meals, and other people comment and going, that looks amazing, what's in that, and so on. As well, to build kind of the social aspect of it, one idea I had was that we could facilitate a patient social evening where everyone would bring in a plant-based dish. Again, it's up to them to bring in the dishes, a plant-based dish they're cooking, and share that with people. They can also talk about how much they've lowered their cholesterol, how good they feel on the new plant-based diet every Monday, and it's a positive community. As I said, the ripple effect of the family selfie, plant-based Monday family selfie, was very powerful. If you could share them in the waiting room of your patients while they're waiting to see you for their 10 minutes, you've already noticed this on the wall. I think it sends out a very powerful message. And again, earlier in the week I just wrote them down as recommendations, and I thought it would be better to pull something together that would be handy for you guys, so I hope that's helpful. And finally, just to leave you with a guideline, to summarise all the points, a guideline as to how to inspire healthier habits in your patients and in the children and families in our communities. Just to summarise some of the main points, praise every step, but every step along the way. Even if it's a very small step, praise all the progress. Live it. The amount of people who ask me, do you not miss a steak? Do you not miss meat? And my simple answer to them is, I love my food way more now than I ever did before. And I feel way better now than I ever did before. So if we live that message, whenever I bring my lunchbox into the staff room, I make sure it looks good. And everyone's like, what's that? So just to kind of live a kind of positive message around it. Attainable, I think a big part is to facilitate in whatever way we can. Again, putting the work back on the patient and on the children, but helping them to overcome any boundaries that are in their way. Meet them where they're at now, as Dr. Johnny Allen said. Meet them where they're at now. I think that's very important, that we recognise that some people are at different stages and that we recognise, again, the progress. Tools and resources, I hope that's covered here. And again, science. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Michael Greger, and he just takes the emotion out of it. Give people the facts, give people the truth, and let them decide what they can and can't do. The kind of don't shoot the messenger approach, I think, is very powerful. So again, it's been an absolute privilege to speak with you today. Keep up the inspiring work, and I hope we can all become part of the solution. Thank you.